Alright, how's it going, guys? I am making a video today reacting to my first Toastmasters speech. It is my Icebreaker speech where I pretty much just give an introduction of myself to the club, about who I am, what my goals are, what brought me to Toastmasters. And so just wanted to make a reaction video because I did record my first speech. Just want to go over and break down a bit of what it is I feel like I may need to work on, as well as just give an overview of how Toastmasters works, and perhaps it'll help some people out if either you're interested in public speaking, interested in joining Toastmasters, or maybe you're even writing your own Icebreaker speech. So just thought it'd be fun to just showcase what the journey is like. I definitely want to become a better public speaker, and so follow me along on the journey. Welcome. Am I okay of moving this, or? All right, move it all the way. So this is something that I've seen in the last few times I was there. It's always better to, if there's like a podium, instead of going behind the podium, which creates some sort of barrier between you and the audience. From what I understand is it's better to either move it or just stand out in front of it, and then you feel a bit more connected. All right. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. So the title of my speech is Sisyphus. And for those who don't know, Sisyphus is this Greek mythology of a man pushing a boulder up a hill. And pretty much I just thought it was a good analogy for... So far, I like the way I'm using my hands when speaking. I think that it's good to be more physical and have good body language, as opposed to if you're just standing there with your arms down. So that was something that I had in mind going into the speech of what I wanted to focus on. Me for self-development, because there's always something more to be worked on. And it's something that I felt it was good for me to embrace rather than just, like giving up, like, okay, I'm gonna let the hill roll back down. Right there, I was kind of doing things on the fly. To give some context, I did prepare the speech the day of, which isn't so good, but just because it was an Icebreaker speech, just talking about myself, I was a bit more comfortable doing so. But because of the limited time in preparation and in planning, then sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes there are some impromptu moments, and I felt like with that one, it was a bit less professional. It was a bit more casual, and there's no problem with that. But being in Toastmasters, I want to work on my public speaking. I want to be able to give an inspirational speech, or be capable of doing so. And so that was a tidbit for me that I definitely needed more practice and more repetition in order to at least get my intro down. So today I want to talk about who I am, what exactly I want to get out of the club, and where I want to go, where I want to be. So my name is Kevin Huang. I am 28 years old. I am a travel physical therapist, and I am originally from New Jersey. My interests, the things I love, include working out, hiking, traveling. Something I noticed right off the bat, and this was actually some feedback that my fellow Toastmasters gave me as well, is I swayed the whole time during my speech, side to side. So there wasn't a moment when I was just standing still. What could have been better was if I had actually moved around the room. So if I'm trying to get my movement out instead of moving side to side like this, it would have been better for me if I actually just took the steps to move around. But during the time, I was also thinking trying to remember my speech, trying to remember the structure and outline of it. So just something good to keep in mind for the future. So hopefully we can see that in the future. Video games, and just overall learning about different types of interests. I've also been somewhat interested in motorcycles. I have a motorcycle back home in New Jersey, but I haven't rode it too much because if you guys don't know, drivers in New Jersey are pretty crazy. And so since I've moved here, I've actually been considering it just because it's so much nicer here from what I felt.
I did that motorcycle bit. It was kind of, I guess, looking back now, it didn't really fit in, didn't really make sense. But I think I added it because I just want to give it more, just a bit more about my character, and I guess add a little bit of humor to it. Like, oh, this is something I'm trying to get into, but I'm a little scared. And now that this is a more prime location for riding a motorcycle, now it's something that I'm considering. But I think that it didn't really fit in much with the structure of the overall speech. So I think I was trying to add a bit more variety, and I think that it didn't really, I guess, pan out the way that I would have liked. Or there was probably something else I could have added in place of that that would have been either more compelling or more humorous or gave a bit more information about myself.
I am a family of immigrant parents. My parents arrived here from Taiwan. I have a older and younger sisters, so I'm the middle child. And I would say that being the only male in the house did help mitigate some of that middle child syndrome.
So middle child syndrome is something that I actually only learned about recently, and just added it there again for another comedic effect. But it seems like people don't know about it in the club, which makes sense because everyone's a little bit older. Um, but yeah.
Both of my parents, they worked for the post office, so I grew up with kind of a middle class household.
A lot of fillers
It was
there.
pretty good, and growing up, going through school, everything was pretty good. But the one
I think I said pretty good twice there in both sentences, and I could have said it a little bit better.
area that I did have trouble with, and you guys probably know, is public speaking. So growing up, I was always nervous to raise my hand, to answer questions. I was always worried about being called on, and I was always fearful of giving public presentations.
I think adding too many always kind of takes away from what I was trying to say there.
I had some teachers who would give the option of you could either do a public presentation or you can do an assignment. And the assignment always took more time and took a lot more work to do. And I always chose to do the assignment just based on my fear. It wasn't until I got into college and I started to learn more about the fear of public speaking, how to overcome it, that I started to take some steps in the right direction. I learned about how to reframe my thinking to decrease the negative self-thought. I learned how to take actionable steps towards overcoming my fears. I also learned that my fear that the worst case scenario of everyone going to be pointing at me and laughing probably isn't realistic, probably won't come true. But I also learned that even if that does happen, that I can handle it and that'll be all right. So that is why I'm here today in Toastmasters. I wish to continue improving on my speaking, wish to become a better communicator. Though it has been a long journey and it hasn't been linear, I'm at a much better spot today than where I was at previously. I would say that my first goal was just to survive, just to be able to get up here and to speak. And my second goal now is to thrive. So I wish to become a better speaker, wish to become more eloquent, more charismatic, and I wish to be able to, like the name Toastmasters, give a toast and have people walking out like, oh, like this guy said something inspiring, rather than, oh, like I don't know what he was talking about. But I know that's going to be part of the process, so even if that's the case, I'm okay with it.
That was a bit more impromptu. I think when I get out of my speech's structure and give a bit more impromptu, I think I become more casual. So I say like a lot. I try to make these jokes, and I actually liked it. It's something that I'm working on. I do want to be more off the cuff, more impromptu. At least I wanted be able to develop that ability, and that's one reason why I'm actually pursuing improv as well. And I think that it's just something for me to continue working on. I think that if I get more comfortable being off the cuff, then I can also be more charismatic and eloquent when speaking and when doing so. And so this is just a good example of practicing that moment. And even if I didn't say what I was trying to say in the best manner, it's still it's process. It's progress, and it's a process of learning.
So yeah, so I went over my fear of public speaking. I still have a fear of public speaking, but I don't let that stop me. And I wish to continue to becoming a better public speaker. And just for my last 2 weeks visiting this club, I think that I'm in the right spot. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
All right, yeah, so that's it for my speech. It was a quick 4 to 6 minute speech. I believe that I only spoke for 4.5 minutes, which is good timing. Overall, my impressions, I think that it was a great first speech. It's something that it took a lot for me to get up to this point. And I know that some of you may be further along on your journey and be like, wow, this guy sucks or whatever. But I'm working on it, and that's the reason why I am here in Toastmasters. I want to continue to get better. I want to be a better speaker. I want to first just overcome my fear and anxiety and nervousness with public speaking. And I felt like I'm a lot better now than where I was before. And in this moment, though I did have some nerves, I was a little anxious, I was a little fearful, I was a little nervous. I think I did pretty all right. I didn't let that fear, or I didn't let negative thoughts or voices stop me in my tracks from speaking, which I felt like that was something that I struggled with more before. And so now it's just still the process of getting used to public speaking, getting used to being in front of an audience. And then I think the next step with that is being how do I become more eloquent? How do I become more charismatic? How do I become more capable of impromptu speaking um, in the moment? And so the only way I could get to that point is after I'm comfortable. So overall, I would, I'm proud of myself for doing this, and I don't mean to make this video just to like give myself a pat on the back. It's more so again just to showcase what the journey is like, and I plan on recording and reacting to my other speeches in the future. Actually, I'm giving a speech next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, it just goes to show, if you are on a journey of you want to improve your public speaking, or you want to face that fear, or you want to be a better speaker or something, it's Toastmasters. I feel like is a pretty good club. I think it's a great way to meet others, like-minded people, to be in a supportive, non-judgmental environment so you can practice these skills. And I believe that the more I practice it, the more confident I will get, and the better of a speaker I will become. So, yep, that's just it. That's my reaction. This is my first reaction video as well. So hopefully the audio recorded, the setup is good. I was working on recording my screen as well. So I guess we'll see in the end if it makes it to the upload. So yeah, thank you guys. If you're interested in following along on a journey, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.